You. And just overnight, the University of Arizona is one of the latest to see those protests, as across our country, legislators and university officials are struggling to find a solution. I'm Emily Pritchard. Thanks for being here.
I'm Allison Rodriguez, and altercations between police and students are continuing now for a second week. In fact, in Tucson overnight, the protests at the University of Arizona turned as tear gas was deployed on pro-Palestinian supporters who refused to leave their encampment.
Campus police and state troopers were seen with batons and also gas masks. One protester claimed to be hit by a rubber bullet.
Now, witnesses say they saw at least 4 people being arrested and loaded into police vans. All of this is coming just after 2 days of peaceful protests there on the campus.
And here in the Valley, an investigation is continuing at ASU after more than 70 pro-Palestinian protesters were arrested over the weekend.
Let's get to 12 News journalist Jade Cunningham this morning. She's live here in studio with the very latest. Jade, you covered those protests in Tempe over the weekend, and you've been monitoring what's happening in Tucson as well.
Yes, we were there after the protests happened on Saturday. We were there as those protesters were being released from custody. So definitely, a chaotic scene playing over the weekend all across the nation as well as here locally. And according to an ASU spokesperson, the ASU Office of General Counsel is now directing a review of the establishment and removal of the encampment on the alumni lawn that happened over the weekend. Now, students, organizations, and members of the community had set up an encampment Friday night. They refused to remove it after police told them to do so. You can see video as those arrests were being made from Friday night and into Saturday. 72 people, according to school officials, were arrested. 15 were ASU students. That group of protesters were released over the weekend. The university statement that said the protesters were arrested for trespassing and encampments are prohibited on school property. This is part of that statement. It states lawful demonstrations can take place except overnight between 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. and that the group of protesters over the weekend continued their demonstration well past 11 p.m. It is unclear at this time, though, if more protests are planned. Now, we have also been monitoring clashes that have erupted between protesters and law enforcement in Tucson. You saw a bit of it earlier. That lasted several hours, and we are hearing reports of arrests being made, so we are going to be bringing you the latest coming up at 6 o'clock. Allison.